a dream, our love. 'Cause one is one is one. For always is all is forever. 'Cause one is one is one. Look inside yourself or your father. All is none, none is one.
Okay, guys. I'm back after about 2 weeks of not posting anything. And I mentioned in the community tab that an explanation was coming in regards to why the channel was going to be ending soon and kind of some of the things that were going on behind the scenes. And this is not a video that I want to do, but this is a video that I have to do for my friend, for the sake of my channel, for the sake of my mental health, for the sake of my marriage, for the sake of my life and my stability. As most of you know, I did a 7 episode series with my friend Larry Bollinger. And initially, I thought we were mostly just going to be doing aliens and conspiracies and religion and all that because that was always our topics whenever I knew him as my neighbor. Um, Kind of became clear really quickly that Larry had a game plan in his head. And I didn't necessarily know what that was, but as his friend, I was like, let's see where let's goes. Let's give it 7 episodes. And as I'm sure that most people noticed, there was come episode 5, I had to call him out for essentially trying to get money out of you guys. I think everybody in their head has this idea that podcasters are all monetizing their content and that even if they are, it's a ludicrous business. And the reality is that there's zero monetization on this channel, particularly for these types of reasons, because I feel like it would break trust. So he comes on talking about wanting to start a church, but simultaneously asking for money, which is kind of no different than Pat Robinson. Um, And I wasn't willing to do that to you guys. I wasn't willing to even really have that be an option. I was willing to let him tout cannabis medicine online. That was his business. It has been for years. I used to smoke as a product all the time. So I'm like, hey, cannabis business, so long as it's within legal parameters and you guys are doing it and yada, yada, yada. Sure, check out my buddy. He wants to flash his shirt and hold up his dad pin. All right. But past that, it was a no go. Um, I noticed that this began to upset him behind the scenes, um, and on camera, I think too, in some cases. And over time, I kind of, through my various contacts, through going back and listening to things that were said and thinking on conversations and having to help him behind the scenes is texting me constantly, and I'm trying to help him out with his situation and his depression with his wife Jen going to jail and everything going on there. It's a chaotic mess, so I wanted to be there for him. But then I'm being called a producer. I'm not a producer. Larry was my guest. I'm being told all the things that we're going to do, that we need to get funding from people like Cyprian or some of the people that I've met. We have to get the money and we have to fight this. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know what this is, but so long as I shut down the financial talks, I won't really have to worry about it. Let me just keep letting him push out his message. Let's get to episode 7, and then maybe we can do a couple videos afterwards talking about aliens and all that. But became very agitated as the more time came on, the less I began to have that trust and that bond, and that it just felt like something was very, very, very off. And come to find out that there's a lot of legal stuff going on in Larry's life. And when you have a lot of legal stuff mounting up, That costs money. I have a friend that I've made through the channel who I don't know if she wants to be mentioned, so I won't mention her here, but you know who you are. Um, she gave me some hard truths. She apparently got her start in human trafficking podcasting, and I had called her paranoid one night because when you're hearing about human trafficking and gang activity and this and that and riots and all this crazy stuff day in and day out, you start to get a little frazzled and you start to get in your own head and you start to go a little bit crazy. So I needed to kind of check base with someone to see if I was being crazy. And I think it was. She told me that I was holding a megaphone for a false prophet, that she had gotten her start in human trafficking podcasting, and that she'd had many Larrys in her life. Delusions of grandeur, they're going to solve the entire world's problems. They know all the connections, all of the elements. They've been places that they've never been. They've done things that they've never done. And she began looking into Larry, and things were just not adding up to a lot of his stories. Um, Things that were found, pray to God that they weren't him. One article, like, I don't believe this was him, but a Haitian minister that was engaged with, you know, stuff with kids on a ministry. And I don't think that's Larry. But what I started to notice about his stories was, I mean, if you look up the name Larry Bollinger, there comes a point when a mind becomes so conspiratorial. When you've seen so much truth and you've seen so much crazy that all of a sudden everything becomes on the table. That I think what may have been happening in a lot of cases is Larry was seeing things online, connecting it to his life and his identity where they didn't have any relativity, and tried to create an identity based around that. Um, Larry, I'm not a doctor, but I believe is spiraling into dementia. When you have an injury to the area that he had gotten an injury to, his frontal cerebral cortex, I believe it was, it was told to me by somebody that essentially you can get rapid onset dementia. You stab a dab tool through your eye and you poke that shit, you begin hallucinating. You begin seeing numbers and symbols, and things get really demony really fast, and then your mind starts to go. And I think there was a large part of me that wanted to help him get his story out before that completely went off the rails. Not realizing that perhaps maybe it already did, but if you could tell the energy throughout the videos 1 to 7 becomes very different very quickly. And that's just what you guys are seeing. Um, I do believe that Larry is someone who has had contact with various entities. Now, the alien stuff, we're just gonna shelf that one for a moment. I believe the alien stuff, that story has always remained amazingly consistent throughout all this. But the one thing I will say on that is that they went from voices that guided him and helped him to make correct decisions to what I believe his demon, his psychosis, his state of mind, his ego came in and began corrupting those voices. And I don't think he was speaking on behalf of at least whatever this higher form of energy or light is that he calls to, like many people do across various religions and theologies. Everybody's got different. Um, he began to call himself God. If you go look at the Go Tell Aunt Rhody video, there's text that I showed in there, and Larry was proclaiming himself to be Legion, that he had all these demons trapped inside of him. And I believe it was in episode 5, I told him, I'm like, motherfucker, you're not Legion. It's like the Ghost Rider movie. You're fucking Ghost Rider. You ain't the villain. And I thought we had like worked through something there. But suddenly he's proclaiming himself to be God, the God, the one who causes the tsunamis, the ones who uses his mind to shut down all the AI algorithms, the one who creates the storms, the one who makes the lightning strike. But simultaneously, he's telling me that he's cutting off parts of his skin again and casting spells. And that, as you're about to hear, he wants to kill people, which isn't very godlike.
That's too complicated. Don't worry about it. I'm taking care of this shit myself. And yes, I'm throwing dark at it. But you know what? They've been throwing dark at the sound for a long time. They gave Jennifer the clap. They fucking forced her into it. They're going to take her to fucking California from me. Then they fucking snitched her off. These motherfuckers are dying for that shit, okay? And you can't stop me. No one can. Vengeance is mine. I work for the Lord now.
Larry's decline in state of mind is, well, the kind of darkness that he brings, the kind of darkness in his heart and his soul and his mind, is exactly why I wanted him to come on the channel as well. Because I knew with his background and his stories, shit gets gritty. He's seen some shit, feels bad for it, wanted to heal it, speak out on it, say, don't become me. And came on and said a lot and confessed a lot, where I was like, man, do you really want this to be uploaded? And he's just like, yep, every word. So we did that. And then I thought a lot of people could learn from it. Like I learned from it. Again, when I was in Antifa, it was Larry in my head telling me choose love, peace and love. That's why I say peace and love, peace and love. The little bit of Larry in my soul, the little bit that he left behind for me. I still believe that we're split souls to a large degree. I know the metaphysical shit's not for everybody, but was for us. Is for us. But when Jen became arrested, his mission, his needing for money, his panic, it escalated very, very quickly. And then there were claims of Jen being abused in prison and raped, a concussion, and not getting proper medical treatment. And I want to say to that front, I believe that because it's a very common occurrence in most jails. But Eugene police, for as much as I want to, extend olive branch and, I don't want to say fuck the police anymore. There's things that need to be cleaned up. I don't know the truth behind this, but I think it's plausible. So I'm not going to discredit that. But it sent him into a panic and a rage. And that's when that type of stuff began. And I would just tell him, you need to go lay down. You need to drink some water. You need to relax. You need to get the hell out of your house. But he's always being watched, and the demons are flying over him, and the faces are coming out of the wall. And he's being told to do things. And there comes a certain point where, even if you have played with the Ouija board and summoned demons, buddy, this is on you. It ain't on Zozo. It ain't on the Greys. It ain't on the people that wronged you in life. It's on you. And those types of statements and that type of behavior is completely antithetical to everything that I've tried to accomplish on this channel. And if I were to allow these types of things to happen in the shadows, and I just walk away from the channel one day, and I have this project where I'm one of the only people talking about Antifa, an issue that's really important to me, talking about the struggles that I care about, the stories that I care about, the pouring out my soul to tell people what I'm worried about, what I'm anxious about, and what I think we can do to fix it and come together. And it became it's felt like it was becoming completely overshadowed by this type of darkness emanating from him. And man, I don't even know what to say on this one. I reached out to the police. I sent them that audio. I told them, like, I think my he's a danger to himself and others. You know, Larry was telling me that he went to the feds, that he was going to present what he knew about child exploitation and human trafficking and all the things that we've been talking about, and that he was going to go and present them. He said he had names, dates, locations, all of this, and that he was going to do that and hopefully exchange for her freedom. Now, why Jen's in jail is because she sold a gram of, I believe, cocaine to a young man that overdosed and died. And while I never condone that, I wanted to remain unbiased because if he's willing to make that type of exchange, then that's a good thing. So I wasn't sitting there saying your wife's a killer, she's a murderer, she fucked up, she did this, she did that. I didn't approach it like that. But he seemingly never went to the feds, never went to the DOJ. Told me he had all these conversations that I don't believe he had. Told me 3 or 4 different times, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go to the DOJ. I'm going to go to the DOJ." After he said he initially did. Jen killed somebody. Someone lost their kid. Another person died of an overdose. Another statistic. Another story here today, gone tomorrow. And Lord knows how many lives are going to have to live with that trauma and that pain till the day they're dead. And that doesn't negate any of your pain and what you're going through. But to sit here and blame every single other person who, yeah, probably contributed. The other drug dealer, the girlfriend who brought other drugs into the equation, equally guilty. Let's not pretend she was a saint. And I say that with love. It may sound like hate, but it is not. Because I want her to get proper medical care. I want her to sort her shit out. And I want you two to be able to hold each other again. Despite all that. But I feel used. I feel like you became parasitic. You were an uninvited guest. But you were also welcome. I like the uninvited guest. It's still probably 7 coolest episodes I've ever done. As I got to work through a lot of darkness with a friend. But if you were to go and do things like you were telling me you want to do, only, people will die. People would get hurt. Everyone you've ever known would damn you to fucking hell. Nothing would ever be solved. No right in your life would ever be wronged. Parents would be lost. Sons and daughters would be lost. Because you wanted to be the meanest fucking monkey. There's the monkey throwing shit, man. You weren't choosing truth. You weren't choosing love. And you weren't choosing light. You were right in the beginning of our podcast, and this is something we've always agreed on. This is a fucking war. It's a fucking war. And this is a battle you've lost. But you've lost the battle, not the war. There's time for you to reflect, to get off the drugs, and to pick one of those NA meetings out of the dozen that I sent you. Get your ass out of your house and go to one. Get a sponsor. Treat yourself with love. Treat yourself with light. And teach yourself to figure out truth. And I know that a lot of this is mental degradation. And I don't want to condemn you for any mix-ups or misconceptions or reality jumps that you're having, because those experiences are real to you. But you owe it to your family, to your loved ones, to the friends you have left, to sort that shit out. And I think once you do, man, I don't want you to kill yourself. I don't want you to kill others. I want you to rise from the fucking ashes. I want you to try and right your wrongs, like I did, like you taught me to do. To go to the people who hurt me and say, I'm sorry. Or, sorry, who I hurt. Yeah, and vice versa, actually. Say, I'm sorry. And you're going to be met with fuck yous. You're going to be met with eat shits. Or I'll never forgive you for what you've done. But I think you'll also be met with forgiveness, because all of this aside, Larry, I love you and I forgive you. And I mean that. All the darkness aside. But if you don't choose right, you're going to hell, man. And that devil at the bar was right. You're just going to be a fucking burning face in a sea of nothing. You're better than that shit, man. So I'm sending this to you as soon as I upload it. I'm blocking you. Changing my number. And like a wise man once told me, I'm going to treat you like a gun pointed to my head. I'm going to walk away. I don't do it out of hate or resentment. I do it because I love you. This is your boot in the ass, man. Get your shit together. I love you.
I have to ask you something very important now.
I know what you're gonna say. You don't have to say it.
No, I do. I do have to say it. John, tell me what you want me to do. You want me to take you out of here? Just let you run away? See how far you could get?
Why would you do such a foolish thing?
On the day of my judgment, when I stand before God, and he asks me, why did I kill one of his true miracles? What am I going to say? That it was my job. It's my job.
You tell God the Father it was a kindness you done. I know you're hurting in word. I can feel it on you, but you ought to quit on it now. I want it to be over and done with. I do. I'm tired, boss. Tired of being on the road, lonely as a sparrow in the rain. I'm tired of never having me a buddy to be with, to tell me where we's going to, coming from, or why. Mostly I'm tired of people being ugly to each other. I'm tired of all the pain I feel and hear in the world every day. There's too much of it. It's like pieces of glass in my head all the time. Can you understand?
Yes, John, I think I can.
If I were the devil, first thing that I'd do is I'd come off like I ever gave a damn about you. I'd let you catch a peek of all your greatest desires. Then I'd watch the flames in your eyes burn like hellfire.
USAID in 2016 gave $310 million of your taxpayer money to create cement mills and factories. That would be the 300 miles of terror tunnels.
Find all the wolves in the land, and I'd make them fight each other tooth and nail and hand to hand. Find all the sheep, make them stir up the pot, 'cause once the wolves have killed each other, sheep are what I want. The devil walks among us, friends, I know this is true. And I don't know if he's red, and I don't know if he's blue. One thing that I know, need to take a look around. If I were the devil, this world wouldn't be my playground.
Part of the funding for what has been criticized as dangerous scientific research in Wuhan, China, was done by USAID for EcoHealth Alliance.
As I placed that thorny crown on my furrowed brow, well, I'd shine in all the tears of joy yelling from the crowd. I want to brainwash the parents, and I have the world. I'll be in every schoolhouse lecturing little boys and girls. The devil walks among us, friends, I know this is true. And I don't know if it's me, and I don't know if it's you. One thing that I know, need to take a look around. If I were the devil, this world wouldn't be my playground.
It's a new crime of stirring up hatred relating to sexual orientation, transgender identity, or being intersex. The maximum penalty is a prison sentence of 7 years.
For my final act, I tell you what it'd be. I have everyone so medicated they could never see. My cloven hooves on horned head would be hard to sky. And the best part of it all is they comply with their demise. The devil walks among us, friends, I know this is true. And I don't know if it's me, and I don't know if it's you. One thing that I know, need to take a look around. If I were the devil, this world wouldn't be my playground.
The fact kid got some kind of ignorant and wanted to fucking hurt other people. Kids are fucking shit, man.
If I were the devil, this world was mine to see. Well, I'd witness all the atrocities, and it'd probably frighten me. So I'd run back home with a story to tell. I'd tell all my demon friends that I always preferred hell.
and I don't want you to fucking fall.
I won't.
We need to
man.
help each other.
Yeah,
I love you.
I won't fall. I love you too, Tyler.